Well, hey there, lovely people. We're not at the lovely place today, but it's a pretty lovely place with these flowers and a lot of the things that Mrs. Lovely's doing to get prepared for planting our garden. Today, we're going to be putting together something that's going to help us get more plants in the ground and grow more vegetables this year than we've ever done before. So I'm excited to show you this. First, I want to show you something that we've really worked hard on, especially her. She's really day in, day out, since January actually, been working on all the seedlings: tomatoes, cucumbers, basil, cabbage, lots of cabbage, bok choy, sun gold cherry tomatoes, jalapeno peppers, super sweet 100s, Pinot Noir sweet peppers. Those sound good. It smells good too. Everything's smelling so good right now. All sorts of peppers. There's some dill, parsley, lots of lettuce, more cabbage it looks like. This is spinach. A lot of varieties of tomatoes. So as you can see, we've got a lot to plant. We've got a lot of things that need to go on the ground. So that leads us to what we're doing now. Today I just opened up the Land Guard 8x4 by 2 feet tall raised bed, galvanized steel garden bed. So I'm gonna disassemble these parts and assemble it together. We got 2 of these. We're gonna put them out across the yard here to get some good southern sun throughout a lot of the day. And we figure this is a great spot for our garden. Here's the piece. Once we get it all bracketed together, it's supposed to be solid and strong, and it'll hold a lot of plants. I heard it had a few pieces of hardware with it. Here's what you're looking at. We have 2 bags of these. That's a lot of nuts and bolts. So the instructions are pretty clear. I mean, it's simple. It just lays out your parts that you have, and then it just shows you some diagrams. Basically, this is the corners. There are 4 of these. This is the band that joins the center of the bed right here. There are 2 of those. And these are the rods that you're going to take across the bed for security, and there's a total of 8 of them. And then as far as the panels, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. When it comes to these screws, there's 80 of them, which means there's probably 80 nuts. And there are a total of 12. I actually got 14, but there's supposed to only be 12 of these. And I believe these are what will join this together. Well, there's our first one on. Here's what the front looks like. And here's what the back inside looks like. Let's do another one. We'll get these at a 90-degree angle from each other. Get it together. one section down. The other one we'll do up here in the shade. It's getting a little warm out here, so we'll get this one together now. Okay, so I think I've developed a system. Let's see if this works out better than it did a while ago. Just a matter of finishing all the holes and then putting this part and that part together. Well, I do a lot of projects, and I gotta say, this is very easy and relaxing. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it and do it well. All of my screw holes are lined up perfectly so far, so this is going together very smooth. One concern I had was, would they be drilled in the proper position? And they all are. They're all going in very smooth. So that's helpful. If there's ever one out of a line, just grab a drill and a drill bit. Clean it up a little bit, you should be good to go. We've got this section together, and I have this section together. So what I'm noticing, this both has holes each side. So we're gonna overlap them. If you see the corner bend out, just grab yourself some crescent wrench pliers and just straighten that right back up. So I think we can make this line up okay. I'm thinking that this goes on here. We'll do these in a few minutes to brace it across, but let me get some screws in. Let's line up the bottom and do that one next. Yeah, that's gonna work out just fine. Now, I'm just doing the upper one and lower one, and we're going to begin working with these bars that go across and do all the center ones with those, and then come back, remove these, and use those bars as we need to. So I mentioned before that there are 8 of these poles here. There are threads on each end, and I ended up with a total of 14 of these. So what I have determined is that you want to screw this on, and you want to get another one started. It takes 2 of these to get the length, the span across this 4-foot section in order to brace this whole bed together. Before I do this, however, I'll be putting all these together, and then I'm going to do like I did over here, the top and the bottom, just to get it secure where I can work on the other ones. Okay, so now we've got this side braced together. They're both kind of in place. And once I have these together like this, that means I end up with a total of 4 of these connected. I got to connect these 2. And there are 8 holes. There are 4 rods. I definitely want a rod across the very top, and I want one across the very bottom, which leaves an uneven spacing in the center. And so I'm just going to use my best judgment and determine where I want those rods to go in the middle to support it the best it can. I definitely will get one close to center, and then one either above it or below it, probably below it. But what I'm going to do until then is I'm going to go ahead and brace the rest of these that I'm not going to be using rods on with the nuts and the bolts. So we know we're not going to put one in the second space because we're going to have a rod in the top space. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And I'll do the same thing on that side. Drop a screw in. Get this nut started. Pop the crescent wrench on here and let's tighten it down. So now I'm going to determine my other spacing. So again, we're going to have one on top, one on bottom, and I believe I'm going to skip this one hole here and come up, and that's where I'll put my bar. So I'll have a bar down here and a bar here. We'll have one up top, and we'll have one either here or here. We'll figure that one out in a minute. But we know we're going to put a bar here. So let's do another nut and bolt down low. And then the same for this side. We got a nice, cool, windy day today. It's warm in the sun, but in the shade with that wind blowing, it feels just about right. Okay. All right. I'm saving the bars till last because they're going to be in my way if I do them first. So let's go ahead and determine right now where that next bar will go. So again, 1, 2, 3. I think that bar needs to go there. Yes, I believe that's what we'll do. Put that bar there. So that means we're going to come in here with a nut and bolt. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom with the rods. So I'm going to back this nut off. I didn't put it on tight because I knew I'd be taking it off. And we'll work our way up with these rods. So here's the nut. The screw stays in there. This just goes on the end of this one. We won't screw it all the way down. We want to leave threads here. If we screw it all the way down, the thread will come up out of this and not give you much space to screw into. Well, there's plenty left. We'll start on the left here. Let's actually, you know what? I'm going to try putting this on here first, I think. So I'm going to shove the screw through, put this on the screw. I'm going to hold this, give it a tighten down on the outside, see if that's a smart way to go or not. Okay, now pull this apart a little bit, get this screw started here. Just don't want to cross thread it. Okay, let's see how it does over here now. Get the screwdriver on the outside and start screwing it in. Now, what's great about this little system, in the middle, you have what really acts like a turnbuckle right here. You can take this and unscrew it or screw it to bring the sides in or out a little bit. So we're going to do these next two, and then we'll take this top one off and we'll go across there. All right, so I'm going to take this again, work our way up one, pop the screw in. It seemed to work out good, and then just use this like a nut on this side of the screw. Got it nice and tight. I'm going to see about using the screwdriver just to get a little bit more on it. There we go. Now, grab a new rod. I already have the center connected, of course, and I've got the nut on this end, this long nut. So we're gonna stick it here and put it here. And I'm taking it and spinning it in. Let's see if we can make it go. Yeah, it's going good. We're gonna get the screw on this side now and bring it to this. See if we can get it started on this one. Pretty simple. Let's tighten this down over here. And again, we can adjust as necessary. So I'm putting 2 down low because there's going to be a lot more weight, I would imagine, down low with all the pressure from the dirt at the top pushing down, wanting to spread the sides out. So the whole purpose of these braces is of course to keep these sides in and equal across all the way down. All right. Let's do this one. This one I forgot to put this on first. It bends, so let's just put it on now. It's flexible. There we go. Take the screw from the outside, come in with it, and match it up. Now let's go out here, screw it on tight. Now let's take this top one off. We'll put a bar across the top. Okay. Same on the other side. So they gave me 2 extras of these, which is good. It's always good to have extra. Start right over here. Just bringing this one in more. I didn't tighten it all the way yet. But yeah, this is now we've got us a box. We've got us a raised bed. Looks pretty good. We've got us a measuring tape. Let's take a look. We're perfect. 48 inches. So this is 4 feet across. So I think this worked. This little turnbuckle setup is nice. That way you can adjust it as needed. So I've got a lot of cleaning up to do. As you can tell, we've got a lot of grow bags down here that we've been growing in over the last couple of years. We've been using these and they're great. If you need some of these grow bags for yourself, I'll put a link in the description for you. I'll also make sure I stick a link in the description for this raised bed. One of the things that sold us on this particular bed was it's 2 feet in height. We're getting up there in age a little bit and we don't like bending over as much, as you can tell as I've been putting this together. And so this allows us to walk up to it. This comes up to right here on my leg and just bend over and do work right in the bed instead of being down so low. You can get these in 1 foot as well. I think there's some in 18 inches. But we preferred the 2 feet. You don't have to fill it all with compost and raised bed garden soil. What you can do, and you'll see us do it, we can put other composted items, even branches and other things, leaves, different things that we've been able to save over the fall and over the winter, so that we can fill it up a certain extent and then add the soil and compost mixture on top of that. We'll show you all that in another video. But yeah, I'm gonna come back in just a minute for you. For me, it might be a little bit. And I'm gonna have the other one together. We're gonna have that cleared out and we're gonna put them side by side. I just can't get over the way they look. I think it's gonna look nice. Again, these raised bed garden boxes, these are by Landguard. And I think it's a good find. I really do. Okay, it's the next day. And last evening, I got the second one together. So they're both up and going now. Yeah, see the Band-Aid? Definitely wear gloves. When you're messing with this metal, you will get bit. But as you can tell, of course, they're not level. I have ran a string all the way down so that I could determine square with the fence. And then now I just took basically a pick and I just kind of drew me a line in the dirt where I need to cut. This is the high side, and there's the high side on that one over there. And Mrs. Lovely had a brilliant idea. We're going to use our weed eater, but with the edger attachment on the quick lock motor of the Milwaukee. And so this will dig in a couple of inches, maybe a little more, and that should be a quick way to get started getting this line nice and cut. The good thing about this is you don't have to cut out a lot of width, just a thin line of depth to get this thing inserted down inside the ground so that we can make it level. So that's what we're up to now. This time of day we actually start going behind the tree, and we have shade, unfortunately. So our whole little garden area, it's going to be shaded by this time in the afternoon, which is too bad, but it gets a lot of morning and midday sun. So this way here. This thing seems to be bogging down a little bit. So you can see it's got tons of dirt built up here, and I think that's the reason it's bogging down. It doesn't like all that. I wonder if people have this issue when they're doing some edging. I've only done a tiny bit of edging with this, and it didn't have this issue, but it was real dry at the time. It rained last night, so we've got a lot of moist, wet soil with a lot of earthworms in it. We'll see if this goes any better for a few minutes, see if it sounds better. Definitely sounds better. I'm gonna place the box back over here and just kind of see where we're at the moment, if that's the right spot. So as you can see, we definitely started a good cut, and that's going to allow me to remove the box once again and then just start digging in with a shovel, a nice flat shovel, just to get it going. But that's a great start, using that tool to get this thing going. So the edger did a nice job at getting it cut so that I can just dig it out a little bit more so we can fit in the right depth. We got a long way to go. All right, so we're putting the finishing touches on to get it level, which means we just needed to go down a little deeper. So I loosened up the dirt with a regular shovel, and I'm taking this little fork here and just digging out all the loose material and hoping that we will end up in a good level spot. Don't forget, if you're doing this, that you have those center cross section supports that you've got to also dig out for, because it's going to set down into the ground and it will bend those if you're not careful. Ask me how I know.
These are the supports that he's talking about.
Okay, so using that tool, we have now dug this trench, and we feel that we're really, really close to level. We're about to put it in and find out. We'll put the level on it and let you see. This one, not started yet. Okay. We are going to check it. I think we're good. So, okay, here's this one right there in level, perfecto. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go over to my most difficult spot and check on it. Oh yeah, look at this, y'all. It don't get much better than that. We're going to go with that right there, and then we're going to check this one. That's acceptable. That's acceptable. We can go with that. That's good. And then over here. Nice. Yeah. That's gonna do it. So let's look at this from a distance and see what we look like. Oh yeah, I can imagine this one being perfectly level along with that one, and how nice that's going to look. If you are interested in one of these garden beds, I'll make sure that I put a link in the description. On this side, you can see, of course, that we're much higher because we didn't have to sink this side in the ground. In fact, we've got a little bit of a gap here. I'll have to fill that in with some thick clay or something so that none of the dirt spills out. Okay, so that's about 7 inches, 7.5 inches in the ground right here on this corner. So we had to do a little bit of digging to make this work, but we got a level raised garden bed. Okay, on another video, we'll show you both beds together, all leveled out. We will fill them with compost, with dirt, with the things that we're gonna put in the bottom to get it up before we start putting all that dirt and compost in, and then we're gonna get it planted. So thanks for hanging around while we put these raised garden beds together. I hope that you enjoyed it. I think we're gonna like these beds, and if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. We would love for you to do that so that other people can see it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, we would love to have you be a part of the lovely place. Again, we're creating a homestead on 60 acres, and we'd love for you to join us on our journey. So until next time, we'll see you then. Take care. God bless.